Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Aleph Podcast. Today I have with me the multi-talented Umnia Iftikhar, who has been part of many things that you've watched probably, and you may not have heard of her because she's very behind the scenes. But welcome.
Thank you so much, and Assalamu alaikum to everyone and to you as well, and thank you for having me here.
Assalam. It's lovely to have you, and I guess we know each other because we've worked together.
Yeah.
And Umnia has basically, you were managing our desert journey shoot for the DA method.
For the one take video,
Yeah.
and then we also did the concert at Allianz.
Yeah.
So we've our paths have intertwined many times over the last decade or so.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah.
इतना काफी time भी हो गया.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, Desert Journey was in what,
2015 we shot it.
Yeah.
And something like that.
But our time
15, 16.
I mark it by my kids, so I remember my kids were really small when I shot that with I was helping Kamal, who was shooting it and did such a beautiful job with Mo.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lifetime has gone by even in those 10 years.
And the world has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But before that, I mean, just to give the audience an idea of the things you've been involved in, you were on MasterChef.
Yes,
Right.
a bunch of different things. I bore very easy, so I enjoy doing new things and different things all the time. And so done MasterChef, done TEDx, done
TEDxP. We also were kind of involved together with that.
Yeah. When you were at
Naya Jeevan.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So TEDx, and then done some Coke Studio, and recently produced my first web series, which will air later in the year.
Inshallah,
And
nice.
Marine Jabbar directed it, so I'm really excited because she's like, I think she's an idol for any woman who's on this side of the line in production, because she was breaking those glass ceilings when we were still like this small, and she's still doing it, you know, with her storytelling. So that's a supremely exciting project that's about to come out.
Are you able to share anything about that? Like, what's the title? Or
So it's a story of three women set in contemporary Karachi, and it's about their relationships as well as their friendships and how they all intertwine. It's a slice of life, and it's going to come out on an OTT streaming platform, I think next quarter. And the best part of that experience was that I came back to narrative after a very long time. So initially when I came into the industry, it was in television, and then I went very far away from television doing specialized musical assets and franchises, and this was like a homecoming almost to narrative, and I was very nervous because I'd been away for so long, and commercial production versus narrative is a whole other beast altogether. And I've gotten so much respect for people who still stay true to narrative, because it's so difficult, and the budgets are so small compared to commercial work, and even the appreciation is not the same, right? Because you know, a 10 crore music video versus like a small drama or a telefilm or something, you know, scale wise. So it's just exciting that not only is it a homecoming, but it was the first time where almost all the HODs were female, and that was something really new for me coming back to narrative. So our AD Faria, amazing. Like, I don't know if I can ever do a narrative in which Faria is not there, because she was a showrunner through and through. And then Iman was the associate producer with me, or rather the producer with me, and she's a rock star in herself and a very cool energy to work with. Then our production designer was Iraj Hadi, another female. Then our, I mean, I can keep going on and on. Hania did our score for our project. So Hania Aslam,
nice.
So she's done the score for our project. So a lot of like really cool women came together for this one, and I hope it translates into what we put, on film, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
I mean, like you said, it's been a long time since you were away from narrative. I guess in that time, things have changed so much.
Drastically.
And like as you said, females are much more involved behind the camera. You're used to just seeing them in front of the camera.
Absolutely.
But also, like, because of the internet, skill set of people has expanded so much. You know, the younger people know more things now as opposed to before.
Absolutely. And that also has to do with energy. You know, and I hope what I say stays true always, but in my mind I'm like 16, 17 and I'm always learning, and I always have to remind myself I'm the adult in this equation. And I think a reason for that is that, you know, when you think, oh, I'm so old or I'm so senior, I've seen everything, I've learned everything, that's when you become redundant, that's when you become complacent, and you lose touch with what's actually happening in terms of like popularity, commerciability, you know, like वो सारी चीज़ें आपको कैसे पता होंगी अगर आप decide करते कि बस जितना मैंने सीखा है इस दौर में बस यही enough है, अब मुझे और कुछ नहीं सीखना. I mean, every generation has a different consumption taste, if you will. You know, you hear this in music a lot. Gen Z, they're like a whole other form of human
born
being.
Into YouTube.
You know, they're another kind of human altogether. Gen
अब तो
Z.
TikTok पता नहीं वो क्या है.
अभी Alpha आ रही है, Gen Alpha, so let's see what happens there.
I mean, but at the same time, like it's important to be be connected, of course, to what's happening, but एक अंदर से एक authenticity उसको बरकरार रखना is also really important. You know, I feel. And that's something I've found.
Maybe I wasn't clear. What I was trying to say was that you can be yourself. You can have your own signature, even as a musician. You can have your signature as an artist, but you'll still keep evolving, right? You won't make the same single
really
again and again and again, right? Because
not
even your
everyone's
fans will be
AC/DC.
like, okay, this sounds like five songs ago, like give us something new. So it's not about not staying true to your own taste or self or anything, but it's about constantly wanting to learn and evolve, and I think that's important in any industry, especially arts.
And यहाँ भी एक मसला भी रहा है, you know, historically in our industry, of certain people getting to a certain place in the industry and then believing or thinking or having the attitude that they know it all. You know, and that's really been detrimental to new talent coming up. But now, because of internet and other factors, I think it's inevitable.
Absolutely.
I
think that time is gone. I think we were the last generation that had that, you know, the seniors who might kind of block out people who are younger and hungry. But now with the digital revolution, as I would like to call it, no one can block anyone now. If you have a phone, you have a computer, you can be a star of your own show, you can put out your own music video, you can do anything now on your phone. So what are the seniors going to do? There's no such concept anymore, even in Pakistan, at least in music, because with the, you know, all the streaming platforms that have come in and the DSPs and all, बड़ी autonomy मिल गई है आर्टिस्ट को अब किसी से कोई फेवर या कुछ पैसे
लैपटॉप में पूरा स्टूडियो है,
कोई ज़रूरत नहीं किसी भी चीज़ की. आर्टिस्ट अपने आप को सेल्फ प्रमोट सस्टेन हर चीज़ कर सकता है. You know?
So tell us about your experience in music, since we're on that topic. Like, what would you say is, other than you know, the things we've already discussed, but like it still feels like there's certain things holding back our music industry as a whole. And you know, what have you seen to shed some light on that?
There's a lot of different things that everyone should look at as a music community, not just you know, vocalists or performers, but even musicians, music producers who specialize in score only, or you know, cinema related stuff. I think as an industry there's a lot of things we can do to kind of strengthen ourselves and make ourselves a bona fide industry, which right now we still aren't. It's ironic that right now one of the most searched songs on Google has gone out of Pakistan when it's not even considered a bona fide industry in our own country. Still, it's still something that people do passionately on their own. It's not considered like a textile industry.
No, bilkul.
You know, इस तरह का कोई structure नहीं है, हमें कोई support नहीं मिलती.
There's no state support.
There's no state support, and state support for arts in general is very hard, especially when you live in a country where there's a lot of political upheaval and a lot of poverty, whether anyone likes me saying this or not, art becomes a luxury. And it's not the most important thing to address when people don't have food or don't have roofs or clothes or whatever. But at the same time, even if the government is not supporting it, plenty of other streams have come in to support art in Pakistan, and the artists themselves is being able to support themselves now.
I mean, it's a debatable thing. Like for example, there's so much money and investment that goes into cricket, for example, because it's a national pastime, passion, etc. But again, you could argue the same thing that it's when people can't eat.
It's a luxury.
फिर PSL करोड़ों की आप क्यों कर रहे हो? You know.
I agree.
You know, but at the same time, I feel there's, for the youth, especially in a repressed kind of situation that a lot of them live in Pakistan, that outlet is really important, whether it's sports or music, singing, whatever it is that they want to do.
Agreed.
You know, it gives some glimmer of hope. I mean, like I have openly talk about this, but I think one of the main dichotomies, you can say, or paradoxes around Pakistan is like a lot of popular music is the Sufi genre of music. That's changing now, but through much of the last 30 years that's been the case. But when you have these artists come up on interviews, or you see them, or you read about whatever the thing is, they're not talking about Islam. They're doing music under that brand of trying to get that audience or whatever. But they're not openly owning कि मैं मुसलमान भी हूँ और मैं music करता हूँ और इसमें मसला नहीं. Because, or either the reason could be either they're internally confused about it, or they just don't want to go in that direction. But I don't know, whatever it is, but for me it's important to break that taboo very, like kind of in a black and white way, because I do consider myself Muslim, and I don't think there's any problem talking about one's religious beliefs. Like Islam is meant to be a social religion. It relates to the entire society, not to individual only. And also कि मतलब कुरान में हलाल हराम का कॉन्सेप्ट ज़रूर है, but म्यूजिक को सिंगल आउट करके हराम तो कहीं नहीं कहा.
But this is, you're looking at like one part of it, right? If we were to get into that conversation, which is a very long conversation, the brand of, so I work with a lot of brands, right? So I learn a lot about branding and brand values and brand love and how it's inoculated into people. And the brand of Islam that's being practiced in Pakistan is very unique to Pakistan itself, and not really to the values that are in the Holy Quran or in the things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. It's more of like culturally appropriated brand of Islam.
Bilkul.
And when you talk about culture is influenced by a lot of different things. But when you talk about Islam, it's a way of living, right? There's a complete manual given to us. We don't need cultural interpretation, because it's made in one language for the whole ummah for a reason, because it applies to all of us, but it has been appropriated and it has been modified, and unfortunately a lot of it is what people think should be Islam, not what Islam is,
or what certain vested interest groups think that people should think it should be. But coming back to one of the points you made, like it is definitely a culturally appropriated version of the religion that is being practiced on a mass scale. Individually, things vary. But when it comes to the role of arts and artists in a society, one of the major roles, I believe, is to, artists are typically, the greatest artists are forerunners of thought process in the society. They see problems before other people do, or before they're recognized on a social level, even though they may be obvious to a lot of people, but no one's talking about it until some popular art form is talking about it, then it becomes an issue that people talk about. So usi tarah se, I think music can, because of these several shows that have popularized music again. Now is kind of, the ground is kind of fertile for artists to kind of lead the conversation again.
Absolutely.
And kind of tell people where the thinking is, what the evolution of thought could be. Whether or not you agree with them, there'll be many artists with different points of view. वो चीज़ अभी भी थोड़ी कम है, because अभी भी डरे हुए artists, and they're still trying to toe the line so that they can get on the next season of X show or Y show or
That's
whatever.
also because these artists are living in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And you can't just look at them as artists. You have to understand the Pakistanis living in this tumultuous environment.
They're living with
they have
all
to
these
go home,
restrictions.
They have families. They have people who can, reap the repercussions of a stand that they take. And I'm not talking about just music, but in general, there's a fear of standing up for oneself as a society. We're all kind of
everyone is living in fear.
Everyone's
That's
living in fear.
Theme.
Why should I stick my neck out? I have to think about my mother or my family or my kids or whatever, right? And no one's going to stand with me, and they'll say it and then they'll back off, because that's kind of been the way things have happened here. Every time any cause has come to the forefront, there are more people who are trying to stop it than to support it, and you can pick any topic that people have taken to the streets.
I mean, let's take a topic, for example, late payments in our industry is a huge topic. Like, as you know, many freelancers get into the creative industry, and then they have to deal with not getting paid on time, and in some cases not at all. Because they don't know how necessary to manage themselves. To have contracts or to take advance payments.
Absolutely.
And all this stuff, or to have a legal agreement.
Or even in terms of like creation, right? So when we talk about musicians or artists, they're creators, just like a painter is. That's your intellectual property, and you, just like you would not leave your plot khulla unattended for anyone to come and do kabza, don't leave your music open unattended for anyone to come and steal it and then later say, oh, I never registered it, now how do I fight this? I have no paperwork, but I know I made this song. Unfortunately, only you know you made that song. Nobody else does.
So एक trend मैंने notice किया, where lots of artists will get together, often make a WhatsApp group, tell each other about कि फलां client के साथ मसला हुआ, and just stay away from them or whatever. But the conversation won't go on the public level because they're scared कि उनका काम बंद हो जाएगा. So in other countries, this is dealt with by unions, right? Or actually taking a collective stand. यहाँ union literally हमने 5-6 साल कोशिश की है.
मैंने भी कोशिश की थी post houses की unionization.
Or there's just someone somewhere that just blocks the process.
It's not even about block. I think again we are unfortunately under a lot of pressure and very insecure as a comm. And I think what happens is what you're saying, in a dog eat dog world, that's where we're operating right now. So let's say 3 of us sit in a room and we say, from tomorrow we're not going to work with X client because they've not been honoring their payments, and let's blacklist them. Us 3 will take the loss of that project, but there'll be 5 other people
ready to do
जो आधे पैसों में उनके लिए कर देंगे. So the message that goes to that person is, oh, कर दो, free में भी कर दो, घेर लो client को, right? It's setting bad precedents. And then the message that comes to us is, yaar, हमने stand लेने की कोशिश की, we lost an opportunity, like nobody stood by us. So it's this vicious cycle, which honestly I don't really know what the solution is, because it's such a Pakistan-wide problem. It's not a specific community problem only. But coming back
I would
to
have
what
to
you
think
said,
one of the solutions, sorry to break you, is just some kind of basic education of self-management as a freelancer. Everyone's going into it blind almost. So, but
and desperate. Blind and desperate. So desperation only begets more problems, in my opinion, because when someone's desperate, they'll agree to a lower rate. When someone's desperate, they'll even do work for free. They'll set a precedent with that client. The client will next time say, well, पिछली बार आपने free किया था, तो अब आप ₹2 में करें. You know what I mean? Like, आपको ₹2 दे तो रहे. So, and it comes from the communal mindset that we come from in Pakistan. We're scared. We're scared as a community. We're worried. We're very, almost, we've all gone insular almost, save yourself. Survival has kicked in. And that translates into, that example you just gave. Why would 3 other production houses sign up for blacklisting this client? They've been dying to get a chance with that client. तो उनके लिए तो दरवाजा खुल रहा है और उन बेचारों को और कोई मौका नहीं मिलेगा तो can't even begrudge them for breaking the pact, right? There are very few people who are privileged enough to stand up and stand firm and take the loss because of the economy that we live in, unfortunately. But to come back to what you were saying earlier, like, what are some of the things that, like, artists in particular, when we're talking about music, I think one of the big learnings I've had in the last decade is that music is, yes, it's art and it's creative, but it's also your property. And protect your property, register it. When you're collaborating, if you and I are making a song together, I would rather right now, before we start making the song, talk about, hey, Umair, are you doing the lyrics? Am I doing the composition? Are we splitting the song 50-50? And I know it sounds very, like, commercial formal to have this conversation when you're trying to create art. It kind of dampens the vibe of the creativity. But by not talking about it, you ruin the rest of that experience, because उस वक्त तो आप जैम करके बड़ा मजा आ जाएगा because सिर्फ म्यूजिक की बातें हुई हैं. लेकिन जब वो गाना निकलेगा और आपस में फॉल आउट शुरू होगा या वो गाना हिट हो जाए इंशाल्लाह और एक बंदा कहते हैं नहीं यार 50-50 नहीं था, मैंने 70 किया तुमने 30 किया, अब रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली ये तो फिर लड़ाइयाँ ही होंगी ना. So it's better, like any business, is clearly put it down on paper so that everyone is free of it. Nobody's even thinking about it. Now just go and create. Go and create and enjoy yourself. When you do it the other way around, you're setting yourself up for problems. You know, future-proof your own music.
Bilkul. And also, like, unfortunately, sometimes because I've had that experience and I've learned from that experience, and now I do try to have these conversations up front. But when you do have them up front, sometimes you scare away the person.
That's
or whoever.
fine.
And it's like, मैं ये legal चीज़ नहीं समझ सकता, ये whatever. And it's just a simple legal document with whatever suggestions.
And it is scary. It is scary because especially a lot of the artists that I used to work with are folk artists and regional artists who can't read English, and all of our legal documents are in English, and then you put a 40-page English contract in front of them.
Of course.
They're not even able to sign their name. How are they going to read that? So it's very intimidating, and sometimes it's even like they're scared. Okay, what am I signing?
I mean, I guess for folk artists, we need to come up with some kind of solution where they can actually understand what they're signing up to. So
a big part of the contracts and stuff that I've dealt with in my life, it's been being the translator. And it feels wrong, that I, the person offering the contract, am translating it for them. They need their own.
There's a conflict of interest.
They need their own, but there's no one.
Bilkul.
And they're coming from, this gaon and that gaon, and apne चाचा को साथ लेके आए हैं जो वो भी नहीं पढ़ते. So like, what do you do in that case? At least I try my best to give as honest a translation as I can with whatever language barriers. I've even come down to getting, like I had a Baloch artist and I could not communicate with him at all in English to Balochi, तो कोई scene ही नहीं था मेरा. So I actually had a coordinator who was Balochi. I made him sit next to him and like I read in English, spoke in Urdu. He heard it in Urdu, regurgitated it in Balochi, and we went through a 40-page document together.
Wow.
And, we do it because we never want anyone, as human beings at least, I never want anyone to feel that they've been shortchanged out of something that belonged to them or something that they were owed more of. But that's not the case. Usually people just put a contract and they say sign it and the money will be in the bank.
In the minority in that respect.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just looking to get it signed whether they understand it or not,
I don't know, I have a very soft spot for artists, and I never think about artists in terms of money, in terms of like a revenue stream. I think of a lot of other things as money and revenue streams, but when I work with artists, I feel I don't know. I just feel like it's my family, it's my tribe, and like, you know, when you have family or you have tribe, you want to protect them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm a mom. I have kids.
Yeah.
I'm very protective of them.
Yeah.
That's someone's kid too, who's signing a document because I've read it and he can't read it. You know,
Yeah.
I look at it like that, very like on a human level. And also, I have no competition. I'm not looking to go into music. I don't want to make my own track. You know, I have none of those vested interests in music. I'm just a music lover. I'm a fan. Everyone I meet, including whenever I've come over to see you, I just sit there and I like make videos while you're like jamming on a guitar because I'm like the biggest fan and geek in the room, right? So in that sense, my goal is always to help educate artists and get them to understand that this is your inheritance. This one song out of 100 you've made
This
could be your
the
retirement
one.
fund.
Yeah, it could be the one.
You'll never have to work again.
Yeah.
But protect your inheritance and not in a vicious, let's fight, let's ruin the creative
In a
energy.
fair way.
But just like any other business, be practical. This is the split. Let's put it down on paper. Let's go create the song. Already in the split, you've decided who's uploading what, where, on what platform and monetizing it.
Yeah.
Everything's become super easy now, you know, like CD Baby, Distro, wherever you can share revenue directly from your dashboard. You don't need an accountant. You don't need to go through all of those. जो पहले होता था royalties बैठ के calculate करना होता था किसी
middlemen काफी हद तक निकल गए हैं
Yeah, it's automated now, right? It's all automated middlemen.
Yeah.
So the distros and CD babies are middlemen. It's just that they make your life supremely easy because they're not actually
one-stop
humans.
shops. Yeah.
And they'll just do it and the report will come to you. So do your split, do your registration, distribute your track. And then I think another thing artists need to realize, because as much as I love artists, they are creative energies and they do think in a very different way and are very sensitive and, you know, they really believe in what they're doing. But there's a lot of traffic out there, guys. Like, हर channel पे हर आधा घंटा कोई show चल रहा है. हर Monday से लेके Sunday तक गाने निकल रहे हैं पूरी दुनिया में. सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में
Competition
नहीं.
for attention has just gone up and up.
इतना ट्रैफिक है तो एक तो आपने ये सब बना लिया, रजिस्टर कर लिया सब कुछ. अब आते हैं कि जी अब इसके साथ करना क्या है. Just because it's a good song and it could be a really good song, I'm not refuting that. You can't just throw it out there on the internet and be like, गाना नहीं चला.
Yeah, there needs to be a plan around it. Yeah.
लोग ही नहीं देख रहे यार. इतनी मेहनत की, हम तो डिसहार्टन हो गए हैं. क्यों हम वीडियोस बनाते हैं? एक कोई प्लान होता है. सोशल मीडिया की अपना एक इकोसिस्टम है, एक अपना यू नो एल्गोरिदम है, उसकी ऑप्टिमाइजेशन है. एंड आई गेट इट, इट्स नॉट द आर्टिस्ट जॉब to sit there and think all of this.
It's a whole other field that they need to engage other people.
Yes.
Professionals.
Yes. And unfortunately, there's a dearth of managers.
Yeah.
There are no labels. There are no publishers. I mean, there are one or two labels now up and coming, but you know, just now baki dunya mein ki there's the big three. You know?
I mean, we're a label, but we're a small independent label. You know.
So like big three level पे अभी कोई नहीं पहुंचा, right? Like in the world.
शायद वो वापस होगा भी.
शायद वो दौर भी चला गया है. But what I'm trying to say is कि कभी भी म्यूजिक के पास वो सपोर्ट, वो स्ट्रक्चर आर्टिस्ट के पास कभी ना था ना है. The only thing that's gotten easier for artists now is due to automation and algorithms and the internet. Otherwise, human resource wise, there's still a big dearth of like agents, managers.
But the ecosystem is not developed.
It's not developed.
It's just that we have some talented musicians and artists and great singers, etc.
Supremely talented musician and artists, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean,
just on the strength of their ability, they're getting out there without an ecosystem around.
Absolutely. You know? And there's some fantastic examples of breakout artists who they've not had a push, commercially speaking. It's just something in some track of theirs has resonated and it's just
like Abdul Hanan abhi aajkal chal raha hai. Sab ghar pe apne laptop pe kar raha hai.
Blew up and mashallah, look at him. He's like all over the place. He's gigging. I saw a commercial the other day. The song was licensed into that. So absolutely, automation and digital has really made it easier for artists. But then let's look at the makeup of artists in Pakistan. The kind of artists we're talking about who can avail streaming and distro and all of that, it's niche. It's the young and educated artists who can do that, right? There's still a lot of people in different SCCs.
There's a universe of folk artists, bilkul.
Yeah, they don't even have access to like computers. Forget DistroKid. You know, they don't have. They're the unbanked. So even if you do go and set up an account for them and set it up, where's the money going?
Yeah.
They don't have bank accounts. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of them are not even documented. And
Yeah.
to have such a big chunk of unbanked people in our community, they can't even use all these revenue streams to sustain themselves. But you know, with anything else, with any revolution or any big change that comes into the world, it takes time, right? So right
does.
now, maybe all of this is for the more privileged and the more educated and the more, you know, with it generation of musicians. But slowly, this is going to become the norm, and slowly, it's going to become easier for other artists from other places to also get on board here. Will that ever happen for the true folk regional artist? I think not. But for them, it has to be something we as a society do. If we want our culture and our art to be archived, to sustain itself, to live longer than the length of one Bharindo player's life, for example, then we're going to have to set up models.
It needs patrons.
Yeah, we're going to
and
have to set up models and do it for them.
Yeah.
Because we can't teach them how to read. We're not schools. You know, there's only so much we can do to help them with their finances, right? Every human being has to have their own control and say on how, you know, their bank account is working or not working, or taxes and stuff like that. So, अब हम educate उस तरह नहीं अलिफ बे पे से नहीं कर सकते, but हम ये ज़रूर कर सकते हैं कि जो managers हैं, जो agents हैं, जो agencies हैं, जो इन लोगों को as a hub connect करके sustain कर सकती हैं, उनको ऊपर लेके आए, you know, like more people, in my opinion, need to come on this side of the business of music, which is do the work. Because if we do the work, artists can do art.
There's a lot of opportunity in this side because it's all unexplored.
There is, and this is the best time to do it because Pakistan is booming right now in terms of content coming out of here. Right now, you know, we have, mashallah, I think there's been a Oscar, there's been a Grammy, there's been Cannes ki news, there's you know, most searched or hummed Google song. You know, a lot of the series that were made last year out of Pakistan have won tremendous amounts of international awards that people are unaware of here right now.
I mean, it's the thing, right? I mean, दुनिया में कितने हद तक ही लोग वो same Western pop and whatever rock सुन सकते हैं, और वो films and वो stories, वो narratives. Like we're a unique place in the world. Like I keep saying this, like we're a Muslim country, but we're not Arabi.
Yeah.
So that in itself
is a totally different
makes
culture.
us completely
totally different.
But
even soundscape wise.
And we're South Asian, we're not Indian.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a part of the world where the rest of the world has now everyone's heard. Like when I was a kid, not everyone even knew Pakistan existed.
No one knew Pakistan.
Now everyone knows Pakistan, whether that's because of the war on terror or jo bhi hai.
Whatever it is, but nobody knew us before.
वो recognition है, but अभी उस point पे नहीं आया कि they know what we're about. Or what it's really like. And you know, one of the symptoms of that is गोरे अब हमें नजर आने शुरू हुए अब वापस. You know, traveling here, coming here, whatever.
Exploring art.
After like the whole time I was growing up, it wasn't happening. You know.
There've been some dark times, some YouTube bans, some you know, anti-foreign sentiment, and a lot of things that has kept us in our bubble for a while.
And I mean everything has its own place and reason. But I think it's an exciting time for me, especially, to be involved in, you know, producing music, because I can see, like, every album we put out, we get different publications from around the world. That's another interesting thing. यहाँ कोई music journalist रहते नहीं हैं, but बाकी दुनिया से देख रहे हैं यार ये पाकिस्तान से album आई है, इंडिया से या जर्मनी से या कभी
and again internet की मेहरबानी. Every time something comes out of Pakistan, you see the most random people in the random corners of the world doing a reaction video to it. Like, I'm shocked sometimes when I see there's some random guy in some corner of the world and he's doing like a YouTube react to like some Pakistani song. I'm like, hey, how did that happen? Internet, YouTube.
And I mean, I think Coke Studio also has a lot to do with the recognition factor of what Pakistani music is or could be, and what folk instruments are around here and stuff like that. So, you know, ये सब चीजें factors हैं, but अब opportunities हैं.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of figure out how to navigate.
Grab them and maximize them. And I think for artists to be able to create art freely and do their own thing, they need more people on the business side of music. It's unfair to ask an artist, you're an artist also. Now if I say to you, अच्छा आप गाना भी बनाएं, अच्छा फिर आप उसको वीडियो भी बनाएं, फिर उसके बाद आप सारी एसेट्स भी मुझे बना के दें जो सोशल मीडिया पे जाने, अच्छा फिर उसके बाद आपने ये प्रोमो भी बनाने, अच्छा सारा कुछ आर्टिस्ट खुद कर रहा है.
हाँ.
इस मुल्क में आर्टिस्ट खुद करता है बिकॉज
ये हम सिर्फ अपने लिए नहीं, हम अपने आर्टिस्ट के लिए भी सब
आप तो लेबल है ना, आप तो लेबल है, आपका तो काम है आप.
हाँ, लेकिन मजे की बात है कि मैं I still struggle with it because I don't like, it's hard, might be hard to believe, but I don't have the budget to have a specialized marketing person. Because the specialized marketing person is getting much better job offers.
Yeah, of course.
In XYZ corporate marketing departments, right? So it's hard to navigate.
So, but this is what I'm saying. It's so difficult to have an expectation ke jitna bhi educated artist ho, jitna bhi privileged artist ho, if they have to sit and think about what time is optimal to release my video, and like how do I amplify it, do I need to spend on it, like even the most privileged artist will be like, hey, when do I make music? If I'm sitting and thinking all day about Instagram ki post, which is equally critical to getting their music out there. So I think it's a
which is an area where I give a lot of credit to this new crop. Which seems to have their social media game is on. They're putting out a song every month. I mean, I guess one of the reasons they can do that is they're free of having instruments and having to record them. It's all in the computer. You know. But jo bhi hai, they're making it work.
They are making
and I guess
it
we
work,
have to learn from them.
Is it the best way of working?
You know?
No. I think even if you talk to the new crop and you say to them, like, how much do you enjoy all the other stuff that you have to do?
So we could
They'll
make
be
100
like,
more songs if we didn't have to do.
If we had time, 6 albums ban gayi hoti ab tak, right? So I think it's the beggars can't be choosers. It's kind of necessity if you want your music to do well, to like push it and pitch it and promote it and amplify it. All these words that I'm saying, these are also critical to getting just one single track from here to anywhere else, that like more than just your friends have heard it. And it is really unfair to expect the artist to do all of it. But where we are right now, artists do have to do all of it themselves. And if I was a new artist coming into the industry, the things that I would watch out for is creation, the split, registering my creation, and then really not just throwing it out there and saying, it's an amazing song, it's going to do well. I really like pause for a minute and think critically that what is the best time to put this song out? Is it right now? Or would this song do better if I waited till after Ramzan, for example?
Fair.
Like there are seasons to all consumption of content, whether it's narrative or music. A lot of artists, I saw this year, crazy amounts of artists released in the last week of December. So much music came out of Pakistan last week of December. I don't know if you saw, like, puri albums drop hui hain, singles nikal rahe hain, pata nahi kya. Why are we releasing in the holiday season of the West? First of all, we need to stop thinking of ourselves as just Pakistani artists, because with the internet now we're global artists, right? You're not just releasing to the Pakistani public, you're releasing to the world. जब आप world को release कर रहे हो तो थोड़ा सा तो सोचो कि जब बाकी पूरी दुनिया क्रिसमस और न्यू ईयर के लिए बंद हुई होगी और सिर्फ मराया कैरी की क्रिसमस एल्बम चार्ट टॉप कर रही होगी पुरानी वाली,
और एवटार 2 महीने के लिए बस 1 पे बैठी,
और मैं अपना गाना निकालूंगा और वो हिट हो जाएगा. It's not gonna happen. It's not your season, right? And again, बेचारे आर्टिस्ट के उनको ये भी सोचना पड़ रहा है कि यार मेरा सीजन क्या है. But that's the reality of it. There's too much traffic out there, right? You have to make sure that you do it at a time that suits your genre and suits your fan base or the fan base that you're looking to target. Right? So those kind of things. So, thinking about what's the best time to put the song out, and most artists and producers I know, when a song is done and they're just itching to get out, nikala, unki jaan nikal rahi hoti hai, and you're like, सांस 2 हफ्ते का plan इस तरह करना है, and it's really hard to say that, but it's for the betterment of that track or that album. It's not for any other reason. Otherwise, nothing's stopping you. You can right now sing a song, upload it, aapka track release ho gaya, right?
Bilkul. And this is the what I think will separate the long-term winners in the scene from, you know, people who are just kind of have transitory kind of fame.
Anyone who's serious about music now will have to think about these things, or at the very least, engage people who can think of these things for them and then discuss the plan with them. And that again is a very small chunk of artists in Pakistan who could even have access to those kind of people, afford or understand what they need from those people.
Yeah.
So more than unions, at least for music, I think we just need good managers and good agencies.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of artists who just want to create art, and a lot of artists who are not capable of going through contracts and finances and all, and they need good people around them to help them make a sustainable model for themselves. Otherwise they peter out, those artists, you know.
And this happens a lot. So just turning away from music a bit, so you mentioned earlier that you're looking to focus on some other things now, and you know, other kind of projects and stuff. So what are you looking at doing now?
So not deviating very far from content at all, and it didn't mean that I'm trying to get away from music. I think on a personal level, I'm trying to do more projects that I really enjoy.
Right.
When you're younger, you know, you're looking for like the best job. You're like, mujhe udhar kaam karna hai, mujhe iske saath kaam karna hai. And, you know, if I work here, then I'll get like, and I think I've reached that stage in my life where I'm like, you know what, like, there's something bigger at play that is getting me where I need to get anyways, and I would like to back myself, if that makes sense. Like, I've had a lot of people backing me over the years, and I'm so grateful. Like, every single person has taught me something. Even if they were mean to me or bad to me, they've taught me something.
It's all a lesson.
It's all a lesson, even if it's a lesson in like sabr or humility or being wiser the next time when dealing with that person, whatever it is. But I want to back myself for a little while. So I want to do projects that I really believe in and do them the way I really want to, rather than for whoever is hiring me. And I've been very fortunate to be hired in some of the best franchises, you know, like learned so much as a production manager. I've worked as a LP, I've worked as a producer, I've even... very scary, but I've even directed 2 very bad telefilms back in the day. Thank God DVD का ज़माना था. वो DVDs मुझे एक दिन मिली थी, मैंने यूं कैंची से ना करके मैंने डस्टबिन में फेंकी कि ये प्राइवेट शेम मेरा मैं कभी ना देखूं फिर से. So I've done it in a lot of different capacities, and now I think as a producer or as someone who likes to project manage things, I really like dealing with things from creation till delivery. I always have, and I'd like to have more ownership invested into it rather than for other people. So I'm just enjoying that. I'm not moving away from music.
Nice.
I'm working with some really cool artists these days. So it's like exercise for the mind, because I haven't done a lot of like artist related stuff, like talent related stuff in a while. I've done a lot of shows where I've like gotten artists to come on board. But to work from the artist angle recently, that's when I saw all these problems that I'm telling you about. Yaar, artist kya kare? Because just working with a couple of them and seeing कि यार, oh my god, एक single निकालने के लिए ये 15 चीजें करनी है और अब artist से करवानी होंगी, you know, like that's when I realized कि यार, actually we need good managers, we need good agencies, we need people who will lobby for IP change so that performers can also get royalties. We need more lawyers who understand musical intellectual property. We need a whole industry, man. That's what I'm trying to say. We need everything.
We need everything.
We need everything. We don't have anything except.
But in the absence of anything,
amazing talent.
We just need people to just go for what they believe in and try to kind of, you know, I mean, hopefully this will reach a lot of, you know, especially artists, because most of my audience right now is the artists themselves as opposed to the general public, because, you know, we're dealing with producing artists all the time. But this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to, you know, tell them all the time that you need to have a bigger picture kind of approach.
And plan, you know.
Yeah.
We have such talented people. ऐसे म्यूजिक बनता है इस मुल्क में यार. Whether you're talking about live instrumentation, electronic, whatever. इतने talented लोग हैं, ऐसे म्यूजिक बनता है. लेकिन curation.
It's remarkable. यहाँ कोई म्यूजिक schools हैं ही नहीं.
कुछ भी नहीं. It's all self-taught. It's all self-taught. मैं तो whenever I talk about music in Pakistan to people, I always say, you know, it's uncanny. Like there's no school, there's no, you know, like Shagir, the apprentice type thing even happening anymore. A lot of the old OGs have kind of
बहुत limited है.
बहुत limited है. और वो बहुत सारे लोग उन genre से भी जहाँ पे वो शागिर्द और उस्ताद वाला होता है वो भी kind of छोटा हो गया, niche हो गया, right? A lot more pop and urban and hip hop and those kind of artists are coming out. But they need to plan for the future. You know, nobody remembers, like you do a great song today and then for 1 year you're not around or 6 months.
It's not going to work today.
No one's going to remember.
Yeah.
There's only so much one song can push you into people's minds to bring them to listen to your catalog and your repertoire again and again. So you have to stay apparent.
Especially when there's no live circuit to speak of.
Yeah.
I mean, live shows are 1 in a million.
Yeah.
You know, and people are doing shows at golf clubs, at hotels, at this and
there
that.
are more private shows than
no
anything
venues.
else.
Yeah.
There's more private shows than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah.
All these years, when gigs kind of dried up, the gig economy disappeared, it was all private shows.
Bilkul.
I can't tell you how many rishtedars have called me over the years and said, वो फलां की शादी हो रही है, वो XYZ को बुला दोगी शादी पे? And I'm like, sure, like, of course. But then I just think to myself कि concert नहीं हो सकता उनका, लेकिन 15 शादी की queries आई हुई हैं उनको, you know.
That's what's kept them going.
That's what's kept them going. And by the way, those are the real fans.
Yeah. We're like we have we're from a part of the world. I mean, I think this was part of how art has been kind of funded in all parts of the world, but patronages, especially like if you think about Mughals ke time pe kya hota tha? The Mughals were the biggest consumers, and they would have their.
But that's with art worldwide, right? They're painters.
So you know, I was
French painters who had patrons who.
Bilkul. I was reading like some articles about this kid. It's just in basically 50 years of this last century, where artists have had the opportunity to make lots of money by selling their music. Or wo bhi ab khatam ho gaya. You know, or having lots of live shows under their own kind of, you know, thing. But usse pehle aur ab wapas wahi time aa raha hai ki without patrons, puri patti, you know, off the track.
Yeah, but like I said, this digital revolution that we're going through, that's the game changer now.
It is.
It is the game changer. And as much as I'm saying, you know, folk artists are limited in a lot of things, go on Snack Video, go on YouTube. At the very least, everyone has a smartphone and they're putting out content every day.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. There's a whole other world out there. Yes, it doesn't have a financial structure to it. Yes, they're not making money off it.
I mean, there are certain singers and folk players that have thousands of followers on social media, but they're not on Spotify anywhere. Like, so, you know, they're in like a unregistered music economy.
They have their own, it's their own other musical economy. You know, their economy is more like RBTs and things like that. Not on streams, because again, where will the streams pay out to when there's no bank account, right?
Yeah, or they're just not educated enough to put their music on a distro or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's very different for different genres of artists in Pakistan, but collectively, what is it that artists need right now? They need structure, and they need people who are willing to support them and guide them and curate them so that they can be free to create their own art.
Bilkul.
That's what is critical in music right now. And I'm never going to stop working in music. Umair, I gave you the wrong impression earlier. I didn't mean I'm giving away from music.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Breaking news. I'm leaving music.
No. But no, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so
Covered
much.
a lot of things. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to get into which we didn't get a chance to get to.
No, I just, you know, if there's one thing, like every artist that I meet, and I'm so lucky, I get to meet so many of them, I get to go see so many gigs.
Yeah.
My kids are actually jealous of me, and they say to me like, how come you don't take us to concerts? I'm like, because I'm partying at the concerts. Like, I want to enjoy myself, not be worried that my bache can't. They're like, Mama, you go to a concert almost every weekend, every other weekend, and you don't take us. What's going on? So every artist that I meet, I always ask them, so what's the plan? What are you doing next? And often they seem really taken aback by this question, like I've asked them the meaning of life or something. And all I'm saying is, guys, like when I ask, what's the plan? That's just my way as a fan saying, like, I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. And I hope you're planning something soon, and I hope something comes out as a fan.
That's also the manager in you. It's like, have a plan, please.
And the momager in me. Yeah, for sure. But no, I think for our community, this is an amazing time. For our country, not such an amazing time. For our community, it's an amazing time. And everyone should try and grab all the tools that are being made available to us as a community to create our own economy and sustain ourselves. And that music pays. That's something people just don't want to believe, but music pays. It's just about having the right people with you who can help you get paid for your music. That's really what it's about. And you just keep doing you and creating your music, and there should be other people who are looking into, where can this music be pitched, where can it be licensed out to. There's so many opportunities right now, especially for Pakistani artists who have, like you said, a very different sound to our neighbors. Our neighbors have a very, their most commercial genre is Bollywood. Even their own classical is no longer apparent in their own culture as such. But in Pakistan,
Bollywood has really dictated what the sound is.
And people's palette has developed for just that now. So now if you want to force qawwalis and stuff on them, that's very niche amount of people on that side of the border even who truly understand, appreciate and want to hear qawwalis again and again. Loopable content की game बन गई है ना सारी, तो वो फिर वो Bollywood का track loop पे चल रहा है while you're driving or whatever. That's how it's become. But Pakistan, we're so diverse and we're so lucky. We have influences from so many different countries in our DNA that it translates in the kind of instruments, the kind of sounds, the kind of vocal textures that we have available here. And I think we, as the small country that we are, have a bigger chance of being a true global player on the music scene.
Absolutely.
And it's just about getting us as a community together and making a system, to support our artists.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, and inshallah we will work together on some things to help that happen.
Inshallah.
So, but it's been lovely having you here.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for rambling. I hope some of it made sense.
Not at all. Inshallah karenge aur bhi cheezein.
Done.
But thank you so much for watching. If you made it till the end.
Thank you so much for watching.
And if you need a music manager, get in touch with her.
I'll find you the right one.
See you next time. Thanks.